In this video, I want to go over the idea of using a calculated table in DAX in order to do something like grouping the statuses. Here I have 4 types of statuses, and I want both done and partially done to count as done. Meaning when I want to calculate how many rows or tasks I've completed, I want done and partially done to be counted as the same. I can make a calculated table with a button and then the table constructors. So I want to say definition of done is equal to the curly brackets, which is my table constructor, and then I can say done, comma, partially done. This will then give me a table which I can reference in an in statement, which I will do in a moment. The benefit is that I can then go into this table and change what statuses I want to count as done, which means in the future I might want to change, so partially done doesn't count as done, or maybe I have something like done plus prepared for the next step. And the benefit again is also that I can have multiple measures that reference this definition of done, and when I then change the table itself, those measurements will update, which is instead of having to calculate this measure in a filter context where the status is equal to done or partially done or whatever, and you end up with a lot of measurements that need to be updated. In this case, I want my calculation to give me 2 rows because I have one row that's done and one that's partially done. But I should start out with the basic measure, which is then simply a count rows of my table, which is called TBL table. And this will then give me 4. And to use my actual definition of done table, I have to use that in a calculate like we're used to, which would then be done tasks. I want to say calculate my count tasks measure in a filter context where I only want those rows where the status column from the TBL table can be found within the values of my definition of done table. And that only has one column. So I'm saying these 2 rows with partially done and done, their statuses can be found within this column, which means they'll be counted, which means I then end up with 2. And to showcase what I mean with I can go up and change this anytime, I can say here in my table construction, I now also want started to count as being done, which doesn't make sense, but that would update to 3. And likewise, I can say I only want those that are done, or maybe they are done plus letter. Because in my work task, you can either be done or you can be done and have written a letter, or you can be done and have written a letter and delivered it. So that's the basic gist of it. So, yep,